So, good morning everyone. I am Shweta Sarangi, and in the previous class, we have studied about the some major ecosystems. So, we have studied that there are two types of major ecosystem. First is terrestrial, and second is our aquatic. And in terrestrial, it means when this ecosystem operates on the land, and in aquatic, that means when the ecosystem operates in water. So, uh, the terrestrial ecosystem is again divided into forest, grassland, and desert, and our aquatic ecosystem is divided into marine and freshwater. So, in the previous class, I have told you about the forest ecosystem. So it's also having two components. First one is abiotic component, and second one is your biotic components. And the living organism which is present in the food chain occur in the following order. So first one is our producer, and second is our consumer, and third is our decomposer. And again our consumer is subdivided into three: primary consumers, secondary consumer, and tertiary consumers. So what do you mean by producers? These are mainly trees that so much species diversity and greater degree of stratification, especially in tropical moist deciduous forest. In northern coniferous forest need a lived evergreen tree, especially the spruces, firs, and pines are with poor development of shrub and herb layers. Deciduous forest is greatly modified by man, and much of it is replaced by cultivated and forest age communities. Thus, trees are of different kinds depending upon the kind of forest. Beside trees, shrubs, and ground vegetation are also present. In these forests, producers are Tectona grandis, Buteo frondosa, Shorea robusta. Okay, so plant dominants of the evergreen broad-leaved forest range from the more northerly live oaks, okay, or Mangolia's bays and hollies. Palms such as the saval or cabbage palm are also often prominent vines. And epiphytes are characteristics. In temperature, deciduous forests are the dominant trees are species of Oculus, Acer, Butula, Thuja, Pica, etc. Okay, so this is the producer of the forest ecosystem. Next is our consumer. These are as follows: primary consumers. These are the herbivores that include the animals feeding on trees, leaves as ants, flies, beetles, leafhoppers, bugs, spiders, etc. Many of the larger herbivorous vertebrates like moose, snowshoe, have grouse are found on broad-leaved developmental communities. Similarly, some animals like elephants, nilgai, deer, moles, flying foxes, fruit bats, mangoes, etc. are grazing on shoots and or fruits. Next is our secondary consumers. These are the carnivores like snakes, birds, lizards, fox, etc., which are feeding on herbivores. Okay, next is our territory consumers. So these are the top carnivores like lion, tiger, etc., that eat carnivores of secondary consumer levels. Next is our decomposer. These are wide variety of microorganisms like streptomyces bacteria, um, fungi, then fungi, the species of Polyporus, Fusarium, Trichoderma, etc. So rate of decomposition in tropical and subtropical forest is more rapid than that in temperate ones. So this is our forest ecosystem. Okay. So the producer, these are mainly trees that have much species diversity in tropical moist deciduous forest. trees are of different kinds which are depending upon the kind of forest. Besides trees, shrubs and ground vegetation these are also present. Next is our primary consumers. These are the herbivores that include animals feeding on trees, leaves, etc. as ants, flies, beetles, leafhoppers, etc. Second is our secondary consumers. These are the carnivores like snakes, birds, fox, etc., which are feeding on herbivores. Next is our tertiary consumers. These are wide variety of microorganisms bacteria, fungi, etc. Rate of decomposition in tropical and subtropical forest is more rapid than that of temperate zones. Okay. Next, we are going to study about the fresh water ecosystem. We are directly switched to the aquatic ecosystem or the forest water ecosystem. Okay, so freshwater ecosystem. They are a subset of Earth's aquatic um, ecosystems. These include they include lake, ponds, rivers, streams, etc. Okay. They are continuously formed due to the shifting of stream, leaving a body of standing water where organic materials are accumulated. Okay, so the components of freshwater ecosystem are abiotic components, biotic components, and the decomposers. Okay, so this is our freshwater ecosystem. So abiotic components, uh, what are they? So apart from heat, light, the basic apart from heat light, the basic inorganic and organic compounds are water, CO2, O2, N2, amino acids, etc. The amount of minerals which are present at any time in the physical environment in the pond is called a standing state. So the biotic components in a freshwater ecosystem includes um, macrophytes, then phytoplankton, then the primary consumer, secondary consumer, tertiary consumer, and the decomposers. So what do you mean by pond ecosystem? So ponds are small bodies of water in which the littoral zone is relatively large and the limentic and profundal regions are small or absent. So stratification is a minor importance. Ponds may be found in most regions of adequate rainfall. They are continually being formed as a stream shift position, leaving the former bed isolated as a body of standing water where organic materials are accumulated. Temporary ponds are dry for part of the year, especially interesting and support a unique community organisms. In such ponds, must able to survive in a dormant stage during dry period. Ponds created by damming of stream or basin by man or by animals such as bearer are among the most numerous. In United States, man-made ponds were mill ponds. So ponds play an important role in the villages where the most of the activities like washing clothes, bathing, swimming, cattle bathing, etc. are centered around ponds. We may study the pond as an ecosystem by making its convenient division into some basic components. So, the abiotic component are we have studied about that apart from heat, light, the basic inorganic and organic compounds elements are water, CO2, oxygen, calcium, nitrogen, phosphorus, amino acids, etc. So the amount of the minerals which are present at any time in the physical environment of the pond is called our standing state, which may be estimated by appropriate method. Light intensity and turbidity index of water at different depths can also be measured by Lux photometer and Secchi discs respectively. pH of water and mud is determined by electrical pH meter. DO, CO2, phosphate, nitrogen, etc. can also be measured by appropriate methods. Carbohydrates, proteins, lipids, etc. are also estimated for biomass determination. And in the previous classes, we have studied about the lipid proteins. Okay, okay, which are also estimated for our biomass determination. The next is our biotic components.